For you, play the record once a day or as needed.
Welcome to Feel Good Talk, where our focus is on mind, body, soul, and business. You are now tuning into Let's Talk About It with Izzy Meditates and Kendra Moore. Hello, Kenny Kendra.
Hello, happy Thursday, as you call Little Friday.
Yes, happy Thursday. We made it.
Yes, ma'am.
We made it. I am super excited today. We have a special guest. Her name is Coach LaToya, and she is a life and business coach. She's also the creator of Bold University. Thank you. We appreciate you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So we are going to jump right in. I'd like to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and of course, where you're from so that our audience can get familiar with you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Again, thank you, audience, for joining tonight. I'm excited. I'm sure we're going to talk about so much tonight, and I'm ready to dive in and tune in and just hear your questions or anything that we're going to be discussing today along the lines with these beautiful hosts. All right, so my name is Coach LaToya, and I am the founder of Bold University, and we're a faith-based lifestyle and business network for women. And we also have our business division, which is called Brandon Lab Global, which is a connection where we have a community that we're getting prepared to get started called the Boss Fuel community as well. And so a little bit about me. I've been in the community for a long time. I live in Orlando, Florida, and I've been a coach for the last almost 10 years. But there comes a time when you just want to be serious, right? And so that was my thing. I was doing a 9 to 5, and I still I work in education, in the educational sector, but also I run my coaching business on the side, and I was doing it. But then experience happen and your life start changing. You realize that coaching was not just something you just want to get up and do. You were called to it. And for me, I realized that my niche became my niche when I went through a crazy experience. And so I'm sure we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. But that is why I became passionate about working with professional working women to be able to reset. And so with the Bold University, we have our Reset Club that help working professional women reset. We have amenities where women are getting connected to amenities such as spa company, and also being around a community that help them redefine their work, their wellness, and also their worth as well.
Yes, and I met Coach LaToya. So I've met this lovely young lady through Meetup because her Bold University walk was on there. And, being new to the area, as you guys know, I was looking for women to connect with, but not just any woman, you know what I mean? Like women of, just like she said, professional, or some with some goals and, values and et cetera that aligned with mine. And so I ran across this group on Meetup, and it said Bold University. And you guys know me. As soon as I saw the word bold, I was like, what? I was like, what? That's pretty cool. So I met up with her and the ladies from Bold, and man, I really connected with them. They're lovely, like she said, and very supportive of each other. So LaToya, you definitely put a really great group of ladies together. So when it comes to Bold University, tell us the background behind the name Bold University. What led you to start that?
Yes. You know what? For about a year or two, I had this group hitting called Bold University on Facebook, and I was coaching a few clients, and I was having them in the group, and I was like, I can't reveal this name yet until I really make it official. And so although I had a coaching business which was called It's in Your Hands, I knew that that was a time to get started with my business. But later on, I start redefining what the coaching industry for me is going to look like for a coach, for a coach like me as well. So for me, I was a coach, but I didn't really there's so many coaches out there. There's so many individuals, whether they went to being certified or they self-made coaches. One of the great things that I've always learned to do is to make sure that you're equipped for what you really want. And so I went ahead and became a coach, although I graduated from UCF, University of Central Florida. Woo, woo.
Go
And
Knights.
I am a psychologist. I have a major in psychology with a minor in sociology, and getting ready to go back to school for my master's in leadership. And so what my background was that I was working, and I was working in the social work field, more on the lines of a case manager. And before I started that, I was just working, particularly with a nonprofit. Later on, working, move away because the job ended, because when you're in a grant position, you never really know when that program is ended. So that was my circumstance. And so, well, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be advanced. I'm in school. And I'm like, oh, I really want to learn the new role as a case manager. So with this comes another position that mean I had to do my previous position on top of being a case manager. So I'm doing these both positions at the same time, trying to manage both of them at the same time. And while I'm trying to manage both of them at the same time, I had a situation with a boss that just decided to, I didn't realize that I was going through harassment, actually, when there's critique on your professionalism, critique on this not being right. And so all these things is factoring, not eating right, all these things is going on. And I was becoming ill, but I had no idea that I was getting sick. And so one of the things I want to talk about is how stress is a silent killer, and you really don't know until you really go through it. And so for a very long time, I didn't realize that my body was changing and everything. And so what did it for me was that I was at work and I felt a sharp pain in my left side, and I didn't know what it was. When we feel pain, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling a little bit sick. I'm not going to work tomorrow, or something that comes up. But for this, I didn't realize that this is going to change my entire life, ladies. And so here I am, just in this bubble, and just trying to figure out what's going on with my body, 28 years old at the time, and facing this in my body. So I remember specifically leaving work, and I was at church, and while I'm at church, I threw up in the parking lot. And I'm like, this is weird. I know I'm not pregnant. One, two things, my stomach hurt. Ain't nothing in there. So I'm like, God, this is not cool. And what's happening to me? So I didn't know, 28 years old, like trying to figure out why I have a pain in my left side. Left it alone, because when you feel pain, it's like, oh, there's another pain. It'll go away tomorrow. Mine didn't go away the next day or the following Sunday, because this happened on a Friday. So it did not go away on a Friday. It did not go away on a Saturday, and it did not go away on a Sunday. And I'm like, tomorrow is work, so I need this pain to go away, because I got to get ready for work. And so I'm getting up, getting ready for work. I could not move from out of the bed. And I'm like, this is not right. I have to go to my doctor. So I didn't go to the I didn't go to the emergency room at the time. I start scheduling an appointment to go to my primary doctor. Went to my primary doctor. They were like, we don't know what's going on. And so we're going to refer you to a specialist. And so they refer me to a gastrologist. And so here I am at 28 years old in a gastrologist's office, never really been to a gastrologist. No one really at the time didn't know what that was for. And they were like, well, we're going to do a colonoscopy and we're going to do an endoscopy. And so primary, when you look at 28-year-old, they're not really doing stuff like that. That's people probably up there. And so here I am at 28 years old. They have to really see what's going on. And so later on, long story short, let's speed it up, I end up diagnosed with something called gastritis. Didn't know what gastritis was. But as soon as the doctor was saying all these things, I knew it was stress. I couldn't explain it. And so here I am just deciding, should I go back to work? Should I not go back to work? And that time I wasn't still healthy at all. And so I made up in my mind that I cannot go back to that abusive situation on my own at my job. I didn't report it at the time. And I can't go back to a work that's going to cost my life. And so, ladies, I decided to quit. And so when you quit and you don't have a 6-month plan, and when you don't have all these things, and you have your own apartment, you got your own car, life happens. And so the rest is history after that. And so while I'm there, I'm like, this is crazy. I got to rebuild my entire body. And I got to rebuild my life. And so at that time, I lost my apartment. I lost my car. And so my whole life got interrupted, and so much more. And so I didn't realize that. And, parents was like, move back home, because I moved here from Orlando to Orlando for college. And so move back home and get back home. And I'm like, I'm not sure about this. And just this crossroad in your life and really don't know what that is and what that looks for you. And so that was my story. And I said, all I can do right now, I cannot go with what left me. And I made that decision in my mind that I'm going to take back my body. So at that time, I didn't know that I was almost 300 pounds. I had no idea that I was gaining so much weight, not
Wow.
sleeping, eating right. And so I went on a journey and I started eating different, start studying, start doing something different, start getting my pen and paper and plan my life. And I will tell people, having a plan is so important. And so I was planning my food, everything, and saw a significant change in my body, lost over 50 pounds. And I was like, this is it. And so later on, I knew that I've created a system on knowing how to balance your life. And so the same system that I created in college was the same system that was for me first. And so
Right.
today I'm helping individuals eventually to be able to go according to that system that teaches you how to balance 3 dimensions of your life, your spiritual, your personal, your professional life as well. And I also work with goal setting. And so that was my story to get started, to come into my now coaching piece is about CEO leadership and women in leadership as well. And so understanding the two and how us as women, that this is not just a LaToya issue, but it's also a global issue that's happening. And it's a lot of time that it's kind of like putting things underneath the rug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you ignore those pains and until it really happens. And so that's what happened and how I begin to realize that I had a greater purpose to get started with Bold University. And so here we are, that we wanted a combination, an integrated place where women can really focus on the total woman. And so we focus on spiritual health as well, personal and professional, and also bringing in women to understanding work-life balance, but also looking at your work assessment. How are you working? How is your workflows happening? Are you doing too much? Or are you going based on what your family said? Or are you doing things? Are you becoming a workaholic and don't realize that? So it's really assessing those things and really resetting.
Wow, that is such a powerful, powerful story. I love the fact that you are a client of your own work. And of course, you didn't want to be, it just happens like that. But things happen for a reason. And now, as we say, your test is your testimony. And now you are affecting so many other women. So and I do want to talk about that topic of stress. Because that's something that comes up. Izzy and I both have had the similar kind of physical experiences from stress. And so when it comes to stress, we're managing work, we're managing home, and all of those things. And so it's like, what advice would you have for women so that way they don't get to that point where you had to get to? Like, now that you look back, were there like warning signs? Or not even physically, but even mentally, things you ignored? Like, how can we not end up with it harming our body?
Yeah. So one of the things that women has to pinpoint is really where you're spending most of your time. I often say wherever you're spending your time, that's where you're going. Mm-hmm. So if you are spending most of your time in your spiritual life, that's where you're going. But you don't need just your spiritual life to be enhanced. You need your physical health as well. And so really look at how you're allocating your time, where you're spending most of your time. So I had to realize that I value life, but I wasn't valuing my health. You can't value just life in itself and said you're going to put health on the side, because in order for you to keep living, you're going to have to make sure that this is a priority and this is a part of your everyday value, that you're doing something in your personal health. So if I'm eating and I don't work out, for example, more likely 2 things. Some people have high metabolism. Some people have, they can eat a lot of stuff and they never gain weight. Some people, they eat it and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even do that. And even if you're eating unhealthy, even although you're slender, and I realized that later on, Kendra, that it's not about your size. Your size does not equate to you being healthy.
Right.
Because health is not just about your physical health, but also your mental health. And so I had to realize and say, girl, get whole. There's some things that I had to work through. Not only that I needed to lose weight, I needed to get some therapy. Although I love Jesus, although I'm in church, but I needed more than that. And so in order for us to talk about the total woman and how I was able to decrease stress, and I used to worry about everything, because I constantly was worrying about my life. Am I going to be able to pay my bill? Am I going to be, and you're just on edge, and you
Right,
didn't
right.
realize that you're building up anxiety in your body. And so the body, your mind will, you'll have all these things on your mind and all these things in your life, but your body is responding to what's happening. And so it will create a reaction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We'll turn it over to Izzy. Izzy, I think you're on mute.
I was going to say, I applaud you for recognizing your body and being in tune with your body to say that this is what's causing the issue. I'm done, instead of going on, you know what I mean? And staying with the company or the organization that you were with. That takes a lot. And to just be like, you know what, wherever this leads me, I'm just going to, take care of my health. I went through something similar to that. I worked for the government and I worked for a tech company, and I only had 2 hours to 3 hours of sleep a day. And I went to lay down in the break room, and I was asleep with my eyes open, and I couldn't move. And it was kind of like
Wow.
sort of a panic attack kind of thing. So I applaud you for doing that. What would you advise women to do in those circumstances? I mean, because some women have to keep working and they feel like they're single moms, they got to take care
Yeah.
of their kids, or there's just a whole bunch of ego and pride that's like, I'm going to keep going and going and going. I'm a
Yes.
boss babe, I got to make all this money.
Mm-hmm.
What are your suggestions to tune into yourself and to connect to yourself like you did, to just be finished with whatever is causing or wreaking havoc?
Yes, I think for me, and that's why I focus on helping women redefine three things: their
Yeah.
worth, their wellness, and their work.
Nice.
Because at one thing I had to do was that I didn't, and the first thing is your worth, not your work. The first thing is your work. The first thing is your worth, rather. The second thing is your wellness. And the third thing is your work.
Yeah.
And so if you're not putting those in that order, in that order. So if you're not putting your worth first, what you tend to do is to choose work based on security and safety. And many people in corporate America is doing that to today and burn out. I've met so many individuals and saying that I see that it's giving me, it's allowing my family to thrive and having a house over, a roof over their head, and just doing all these things. But at the end of the day, you're unhappy. So I will say that your worth will check your happiness and it will check your peace at the same time. And so never settle based on the work that you have, but make sure that what you're getting into that is connecting to your purpose. And so purpose, when you connect to I wouldn't call it even work, but because we have a work style. So when you're connected to your purpose, you still have to manage your time. And so everything goes back to time management and workflow assessment. So to make sure that you're looking at that. So for that woman that is choosing, do not choose. Remember your worth. Remember your worth. And at times, if you don't have a that deals with your confidence, that deal with everything, you're getting back whole, you're going into therapy, you're getting some different things and some help to build your worth so that you can build your value.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm thinking like your worth, your work, and what was the third one? Your worth. I'm going to put this in the chat. Your worth,
Your worth, your worth,
mm-hmm.
your wellness,
your wellness,
and
and then your work.
And
Yep,
your
yep. Because you're right. And the thing that amazes me too is that we honestly, if we all think about it, we are like abundantly blessed with stuff. Do we really need all the stuff? So when Izzy was talking about like, the sacrifices that people may be afraid to make for the sake of not having, but at the end of the day, if you scale back to what it is that you really need, we don't need a lot of the things that we think we need, and so we're sacrificing our health for convenience. So that's one of the things that I learned as well. So I'm happier with less, if that makes sense. So I want to jump into Bold University some more. So you told us about where the idea came from, why the name Bold, which is, I love it so much.
Yeah.
So, so why the name Bold University? Of course, from everything that you've been through. But how do you like define like a bold woman? And does a woman need to consider herself to be bold in order to join the organization?
Absolutely not. I think in general, I came from a woman. I was a woman that was very shy growing up, and I didn't really come into my worth until I think I came off when I came off the college, start being in leadership and being developed. But I believe a bold woman is a woman that wakes up. That means
Mm,
a woman is awakening from the broken place there where she's been,
yeah,
because you can be broken but still work in corporate America. They're not hiring you because you they're hiring you because of your skill. But
right.
at the end of the day, how are you showing up? A bold woman is a woman that show up ready, and that means she mentally prepare herself. She physically and she spiritually prepare herself for her worth and for her work at
Yeah,
the same time. And so with that, it's just to understand that you got to be unapologetic. Many women are apologizing for them taking care of themselves. You don't have to tell somebody, I'm sorry, I won't be there. Yeah, tell them the truth. I won't be there because I'm going to take a few days off, and
right.
that's it. I'm going to be there because I need my mental health day. Take off on work. A lot of time your job don't stress that you can take a mental health day. We're waiting for us to be sick in order to take a day off. Take a day off. Take a weekend
Yeah.
off, and realize that you could be bold anytime, because you can make that decision. No one has to make that for you. And so I really want women to know that, professional women and women in general, to know that to be bold is to be awakened and to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
unapologetic.
And I love what you're saying too. And not that this doesn't apply to all women, but I also feel like in the Black community as well, when it comes to taking days off,
Hmm.
you're absolutely right. We only do it when we're sick or there's something significant. And there's this kind of sense of shame if we just like, why did you take today off? We should be like, well, why are you even asking me? Because I have the days off to take off, right?
Yeah.
But we do yeah. And I think that
I love it.
comes from a genuine place. We're just so used to just always having to churn and work and, seeing our moms and grandmas churn. And I think there's some kind of, I guess I'll call it generational guilt
Hmm.
about it. And so we try to repeat the same thing. But again, it's not healthy for us.
No.
Izzy, I don't know if you have another question before we move into, because I want to tie this in to Toya's new book that I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk about, Entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I wanted to say something that I saw the other day, and then we have comments. There's a
Uh,
meme that's going around, and there's two pictures of the Earth, and so you
Mm.
can see both pictures of the Earth. And the first picture of the Earth says, "This is the Earth when you're alive," and then the other picture says, "This is the Earth when you're gone." And
Mm.
both of the Earths are the same. And so I
oh,
Right.
think
wow.
we put like we're supposed to do all this and that, and we're thinking, and it's true, we contribute to the universe and things like that, but you're killing yourself to do this, but the earth is still going to look the same when you go. Nothing changes. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now that I see it from that perspective, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't message this person back. It's not going to be the end of the world if I don't finish this project by midnight.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
we put these pressures on ourselves that are unnecessary, and then we end up ill mentally, physically, and spiritually. Yeah.
Before we jump into the book, because that's going to be a whole, it ties in but different. But
Yeah.
Coach LaToya, can you tell us a little bit, what can one expect when they work with you as a life coach?
Yes. As a life coach, my one of my and that's why I made Bold University really a community. It's actually a membership based community, and we're going to be kickstarting our membership for those who are in Orlando. My goal is to get it across the world, actually, but our chapter for Orlando will be starting in January. So about December, November, you can be expecting some enrollment going on, but we definitely only accept 50 women every 6 months to our Reset Club. So I partner up to about 5 companies where women can go to get float therapy, massage therapy, also a little bit of manicure, pedicure, not in the nails, ladies. We're not going to go
Nice.
all the way there, but we're going to be talking about self care, and also facials and so many things that we have, and different things that we have access to. And also, I have some great coaches who specialize in skincare, nutrition, and different things, and work, wellness series, and so much more. And so one of our community initiative is to have monthly walks where I met this amazing woman called Miss Kendra. And so
It was
with that is
awesome.
just to get women together to get out the house, y'all. I mean, I got some women
Yeah.
that make excuses all the time. It's raining. I'm like, let's go. So so we don't want to do that anymore. We're getting women up to say it's time to move your body just to make the effort. And so what that looks like for me to working with me is that I often say that, there's so much woman empowerment, but I focus on woman enrichment, because a lot of time we're in a seminar and we in a conference talking about 10 steps to get there. We're going to do life together. And so my practical thing is to do luxury picnics. And so getting into VIP days where I take a group of women on a luxury experience, and to have those days to reset, such as boat ride, picnics, and so many things to get into life back again. And so what it looks like me is that we're going to be doing life together. We're going to be talking. And so some of my days, I remember when I first started the Reset Club, some great women just came along, but one specific woman, we did a day where we just went to the spa and we did dinner. And so that's what it looks like with me, really, is just really engaging them with the things that they said they don't have time to do, And
Yeah.
so I'm like your accountability partner slash wellness. I love nature. I love life. And I know what my life almost went there. I almost died. And I'm going to tell you that. And I almost died on my own watch. Isn't that something? I
Mm-hmm.
died on my own watch.
Wow.
That means
And
that when
Coach,
you were born, God gave you the ability to take care of you. And if you're not taking the time to look at what you're doing with your life, you're going to find yourself working yourself to death. And that is not the plan of God. And so for me, I had to realize that. And so we're going to do life together. We're going to get out of the rat race, and we're going to stop making those excuses that I don't have time. And we're going to cut down the barriers. We're going to look at your work assessment. I also do schedule planning. We get you on schedule. That's the first thing. Can't do nothing else but get you on schedule first. And then we talk to the process of certain things that you want to work on. Goal setting. You might want to talk about self-care or guilt, or depends on certain things. And so every woman is different. Every woman
yeah.
is.
And I just want
Nice.
to highlight real quick, and I know we're going to go to comments next, but Coach, LaToya, while she's talking about, we're going to do spa days and, this, that, and the other. She actually has a beach day that I'm missing because I'm going to South Carolina. So beach day this weekend.
Yes.
But again, I just want to underscore the quality of women that you have in this group makes the conversations just to another level, and the connections on another level versus, you have those friends, like I always say, you can't take everybody to Nordstrom. You have those friends that, you kind of kick it over here with. But you need, I think, a group of women who have this type of aspirational living in the way that they run their business and the way they operate on their job. And it's just such a great connection. So I really enjoy it. So let's get to comments.
Yeah, I'm
We have
excited.
Charles Brakely in the house. He says, "Good evening, ladies." Hello, Charles. How are you?
Hey,
Charles.
Charles.
Catherine Clark. Hi, nice to see you. We
We
made
did.
it.
Yes, we did.
Charles Brakely says, "Please like, love, and share." I'm sorry, like, love, share, and follow Feel Good Talk. Yes, please. Charles Brakely also says, "Also, please follow us on YouTube at FGT Mind, Body, Soul, and Business." Hey, Karen. Karen Dixon Brown's in the house. She says, "Good
Hey,
evening."
Karen.
Hello. Mwah. Catherine Clark says, "Yes, Bold University is
Yeah.
awesome."
Yeah.
And she also says, "Bold University LLC." Okay, she
Thank you.
corrected
That
herself
Catherine
there.
is actually one of the co-author, entrepreneur, my partner, my friend. She's a Zumba instructor, so she's gonna be at the beach. We're gonna get a little jiggy jiggy, na 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 na
Nice.
na.
Do not
So
make
she
me
ready,
jealous.
yeah. So she does we do a great things together, which what I'm going to talk about later with what we do with our Boss You Club.
Nice. Charles Brakely says, "Yes, stress will kill you." Absolutely. Or drive you crazy, one or the other. Letty Lagner says, "Hi, ladies." Hey, Letty. How are
Hey, like,
you?
Health
And
is
Charles
wealth.
Brakely also says, "Health is wealth." Yes. Karen Dixon Brown says, "Yes, you should work to live a little more comfortable. Never live to work."
I love
Absolutely.
that.
And
Yes.
I'm glad I figured that out.
yeah, hello.
Charles Brakely says, "Sometimes you don't know that you're stressed out until it's too late." I
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
That's
it's
the
true. I would
word.
have like these panic and anxiety attacks, and I was thinking I was having a heart attack, and my I would get rushed to the hospital only to find out nothing was wrong.
Mhm.
Charles Blakely says worth, wellness, and work. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you for putting that in there.
Yes. Thank you.
Catherine Clark says we must prioritize our worth, wellness, and work. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. That's great.
And Karen Dixon Brown says yes. Hashtag bold. Show up even if you have to create your own and go. Yeah,
Yes.
showing up is really important. Um, this
Thank you.
is I like this title of it's Entre Pray and
Preneur.
Nora.
Thank
I
you,
love
Catherine.
that.
Sharing the link straight to
10-day
the book.
guide for business and
Mhm.
success. And there's the website if you guys want to click on and check that out.
On
I love the title
Amazon.
of the book. That is
Mhm.
amazing.
Excited. Thank
Yes.
you.
And so
So
you have more
since
questions.
Yeah, since we ended with entrepreneur, let's start this conversation there because it's a really cool book. So tell us about yourself and your co-authors and why you guys, what it's about, and why you decided to
Oh
author
my
such a book.
gosh. I'm so excited to talk about this project that we worked on. I think it took us about 90 days to get this completed. And, we met in college and we became friends. And so I often say that we went from friendship to partnership. And it is just a great connection and connecting that. So for us, our relationship with God is the first thing. And so, but what we realized that even connecting to God, we didn't really know how to affirm our business, have declaration, affirm it. We didn't really know what to do, when it comes to that part. And we realized that because we didn't know how to do it, a lot of people really don't know how to declare and to talk about their business and to say affirmation about their business. But then we realized that there was a missing why we wasn't growing our business is because emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And so we realized that later on there's a connection between your emotional intelligence and your business because it has everything to do with your mindset. It has everything to do with your emotions. For example, someone reject your service. You sent out your service plan, you told them all the things that you're going to do. You took about 3 hours to write the email, and they're going to come back and said, I'm sorry, your price is too high. You need to cut it.
You need to get it.
I'm like, no, my price just went up. And so we feel like, all that thing that you went through is like, man, nobody want my service.
No,
And
right.
you go through all these stuff. And, that's a practical thing that it looks like when you're on stage and you like, I'm here, look at me. But then when you get behind off stage, you're crying and you're sad because your business is attached to your emotions.
Right.
And so here we are dealing with even childhood issues that we had, low self esteem, all that plays a part. And we understand that going into business is not for the weak. You got to be
Right.
strong a little bit because not everybody's going to
Mhm.
take on to your services. And you're not on social media to show that, who look at me, I'm doing something with my life. And a post don't really mean nothing, but your worth, back again to your worth and your wellness. And so you got to realize that there's a divine call to become an entrepreneur. So we realize that we're not just a typical entrepreneur, we're entrepreneur because
Right.
we know that we have to cover our business in prayer and we understand that business and healing is very important. And so that's the story of entrepreneur. And it's a 10-day guide to business and success. And we're talking a little bit in the intro of how we met in college, but also understanding that it is so we're not a machine, we're human beings at the
Yeah.
same time. And so understanding that connecting to yourself as well as connecting to your business and knowing how. So some of the chapters, some of the days rather, like day one, we're talking about emotional intelligence. We're teaching you how to pray and affirm and say declaration over yourself. And also, we also take you on a journey to journal actually. So it's a journal, your journal, we're asking you questions about like, different things that you might be facing, but we also taking you to like technology, talking about the power of technology, asking you about what kind of, so it's really about even because we're Brandon. I wish we had our Brandon Live Global is a part of what we created together. Not only we're author, but we actually all, I'm one of the co-founder of Brandon Live Global, which is a business division of Bold University. And that's where we have our Bossfield Club. And so we specialize in branding and we were working together to help individuals launch their business. I specialize specifically in program development, business management made easy, teaching women specifically how to manage their business, because a lot of time you get overwhelmed. And so I create systems, structures, and things like that with women. And I do so much things. I also help individual build out membership. If you're thinking about a membership community, I will be starting my a great project. I'm excited. It's a mastermind group for individuals who want to start their own membership group as well. And so we accept about 10, whether you're a pro or you're a starter. And so I'm excited about that. And that will be kickstarting this year. And I'm going to be having some enrollment. So if you're thinking about that, you can definitely reach out to me as well. And so how to monetize on membership as well. And so there's so many things with that. So bringing back to entrepreneur, those are the things I truly believe that God gave us a gift, and then our ideas didn't just come from us Googling it or it come from somebody else doing it. You don't have to copy nobody else. And so we realize that our relationship with God is also connected to our business as well.
Yeah, I love that, because it's like you said, and you have it on your site and your materials and your social media, holistic, right? So dealing with the holistic woman, because yeah, we do tend to separate our spiritual life, our physical life, our business life, but in all actuality, they all do run together. So for entrepreneur, I described it as a book, but as you were talking, yes, it's more like a work, like you're helping people work through. So it's not necessarily that you're going to pick up the book and just read, like you have work to do. So, so I think that is something that really is unique about it. And tell us a little bit about your co-authors as well.
Oh my gosh, I have my beautiful friend, Catherine Clark. Catherine Clark is a creative writing consultant. And for years, Catherine has wrote. She started off as a poet, but realized that later on that she has a background in communication and nonprofit certificate as well. She owns a nonprofit called Beauty Box as well. And a part of Bold is the inclusion part, where after the ladies, and specifically she worked with women who have undergone pretty much human traffic survivors. And after they come out of all of that and went through therapy, now what? So Catherine was a visionary of this, that I truly believe that she's just an amazing person. And her goal is to create a really a social rehab component, so that those women who have undergone such a drastic part of time in their life to getting back into society can be hard. So she has an 8 months program that bring them in and transform them from career, fashion etiquette, life coaching. I'm one of the lead coach for that as well, and getting them back into normalcy. And so Catherine has creative writing consultant. So Catherine helped individuals with their brand messaging as well. So she's really good with writing, and she's just doing great things as well. She's also Miss Corporate America 2019. For those who are interested in that, I love that organization as well. Started by Dr. Anissa King, for women who are being recognized for what they do as well. It's a great organization. And so she had played a part in so many things in the community as well. And then we have Miss Fee. She's into fashion. She's also about that, because when we realize that in business, that you can't just, have a brand, you need a brand. You have to have a brand identity, and you must know who your audience is. But you also need to look the part as well. You can't just show up any kind of way. People won't take you seriously. And so with that, Ms. Fee focused on individuals redefining their styles and showing up ready to represent their brand.
Yeah, I do love that. And I actually had written that down, brand identity crisis.
Ooh,
that's
yes.
one of the things that you guys kind of talk about. So what's like a brand identity crisis? Because I do feel like now which is beautiful, that with social media, there's so much opportunity, a lot of entrepreneurs, people getting out there. But sometimes I'm like, I don't know if people understand that brand is more than just a logo,
That's good. That's good. It is. And so when we got together, we realized that oftentimes that's the first thing that someone go to. They come up with an idea, and the first thing, they don't even register their business. They started promoting with a logo. And so a lot of people are not going through the steps in order to build a better business and having the foundation of a business, is that they're coming out there with their ideas, but really haven't developed it. And so what we did was sat some great women down at first and really laid out it from A to Z about registering, coming up with your name, and then finding out what you want to sell, what services you want to offer, also what's your brand color. And so we're going through the steps of women, and now we have really shifted to where we want to really do it in group base. So we have launched it. We have launched the Work Lounge. I'm excited about that. That's a part of what we do as well, taking women in spaces so they can work on their brand and they can work on their craft as well to develop it. And so to have brand crisis for me truly mean that you lack clarity and you lack direction. And also you have to be very careful that you don't move into what I call impulsiveness. And so this is in someone post something and they got their book cover made and it said coming soon, but it's been 5 years and it haven't came yet. Maybe you shouldn't have revealed that yet. And so that's what I'm talking about, brand, having brand crisis and understanding that there's a time when you're ready to prepare whatever you're doing. You want to do it right. And sometimes you might need to speed up a little bit in order to get it done. But when you get it done, when you start promoting it, make sure that is in excellent, do things in excellence. And that is what it is. And sometimes it take a while. And it's like, and I'm not saying hold your ideas back, but what I will say, polish your idea so that it can look the part, the way that you see it to be. And your money might be a little funny, but there's so many resources out there that will make you look like you have a big brand in a way, and just really not even having a big brand. It's about having a brand excellence at the end of the day. It's really about that. And so,
well, I'm just going to say this and let Izzy ask some questions. But as you're talking, I'm like, how in the world are you balancing? That's my question after Izzy asked hers, all of this stuff, because we failed to mention that you're also an evangelist. Right. So you have that. And so I know that keeps you busy. And I'm like, man, I must be doing something wrong because you have a lot and you're doing it. So, but I'll have Izzy, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to say that going back to the connection thing, and I think it's awesome that you pointed that out, that we need to be detached from things and not see ourselves as like a parent. We're like so into being parents that we attach ourselves to it, that when our children fail or do something incorrectly, we take it personally. So we have to separate ourselves from that. Same thing with our businesses. It's going to go up and down. We have to detach ourselves and connect more with our inner selves and our spirit. And then we're able to lead and to journey on. So I thought that was really awesome that you had brought that up. That detachment is everything. We are not our kids. We are not our business. And we are not anything else. We're just us being ourselves and being connected with ourselves. And in order to be good at what we do, that's important. So I'm glad you brought that up. That was super
I love
awesome.
that. Yes, because who are you without it? I look at a lot, Izzy, I look at a lot of people and, I think about Miss USA who have committed suicide. These are the things that's happening today. We often equate someone posting and showing that they do it. I mean, we're in a real generation now. Everybody's posting. I post, but at the end of the day, who are you behind closed door? And so it's really about showing up because you're whole and you're healthy. And so it doesn't matter how far you get in life, no matter how, what platform you get to, make sure you're well. And if you're going up too high and you're getting too big and you're losing yourself, you might need to stop.
Right.
Don't you ever lose yourself to try to climb the ladder. And I think that's what's going on. We're climbing the ladder, trying to get there. And what happened when we stop, we think it's a problem, but you might need a pause for a reason so that you can reset. And so these are the things that I definitely look at. And so to answer your question, Kendra, how do I balance all of this? After I got sick, I realized that team. And so I developed team also. Work with clients who have a business, whether they have a building, and I work with them to be able to develop teams so that they can take the work off of themselves as well. And so looking at specifically their business infrastructure, how I can help them develop a team model, because I believe in the art of delegation. So although I have all these things, my goal is to manage it. And so I have different individuals that I've collaborated with that do their part and I do my part. And so that it makes my work a little bit smarter, but it also allowed me to touch lives even more, because at the end of the day, it's not about LaToya. it's about the assignment that I have on my life. But now I'm sounding like a preacher. And
That's all
so
right.
it's the assignment that you have on your life. And for
Yeah.
me, it's not just putting on another event. And so I told everyone when I started to walk, I felt like I needed to start the walk just to do it. And I said, if I'm the only one walking, I'm going to walk. The
Mm-hmm.
crowd don't move me. The
Mm-hmm.
assignment is what moved me. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I got to that
That's
point
good.
and realized that I was serious about making a change and that nobody's going to be laying on the floor like I did. And there's some women I have to wake up because we got to redefine what woman in leadership looks like.
Yeah. And so going back to the book, right? So entrepreneur, can you talk about the pray part of that and why that is important for you to emphasize? And if you're talking about like the spiritualness of the person and how that aligns with the business,
Yes.
aspect.
Well, prayer really is a technique and it's a tool. You have many religions that pray, different religions that pray. There's different individual that pray to different, gods, different things, the universe, different words that people use. And so for me, align with my faith as a believer, as a Christian, is to know that I pray to God. And so if I'm praying to God specifically, it is a way for me to just move further into excuse me, to make sure that my let's turn up. So for if I'm praying to God, is to make sure that I'm aligned with him and that my business aligned with him and that everything that I do align with the work that I want to accomplish. And so affirming, self-affirmation, we talk about meditation, and specifically what are you meditating on? And so for me, I meditate on God's word. You can meditate on different affirmation and words that drive and change your mindset and change it. I believe there's life and death in your mouth. And so for me, when I'm affirming and I'm praying, I'm speaking life into my business. And so there's time that I know that I can't collaborate with everyone. You can't decide. Partnership is not where you want to partner with everyone. Everyone is not your partner. And so sometimes partnership works for some people and sometimes it doesn't. And so you got to make sure that whoever you're partnering with, you have to be prayerful about it. And whatever you're going to be doing, you must be prayerful about it. So the same way that you pray for your health is the same way that you're covering your business from different legal issues, different things that we talk about in the book specifically that we feel like was very valuable to cover. And in the book also, we talk about business victories. A lot of the time we're not celebrating ourselves, or we just keep doing and don't realize that you gained like 5 clients last week, but you're like, and so we're not celebrating ourselves. So we have business victories. We got different things. Some people call it testimony, but we call it victory because, we just overcome something, and so just celebrating that is so important. And so that's why I believe that prayer is a technique, it's a tool that drives you to change and it keeps you moving as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Izzy, I didn't know if you had a question, if you had something. Go
And
ahead.
everything that you're doing, because I checked out your webpage and Kendra was talking about like balance. Have you ran into any difficulties in trying to keep everything together? And how are you handling those as well?
That is such a great question. I did. And I just talked about where that one of the things that I set up for Bull was the Reset Club so that women don't feel overwhelmed. So I take advantage of what I set up. And so the same thing of me going back to the plan and managing my life with the system I've created was also where helping to manage my life, that I'm doing my spa day. One of the provider for Bold is a great, great person that I've even became a friend of mine. That's how it started, was that I asked her one question, and that because my money was a little funny. And so I wanted to ask her specifically, can I set up a small bank account? I was just coming up with an idea. I was like, I need help because they were giving me meds. I'm like, I don't want no meds. And so
Yeah.
for me, I was like, I didn't know that I was going to get ready to create a whole system around life development, personal development, and wellness because I started with me. And so for me, Izzy, it's so important that I'm making sure that I'm pulling back. And so if I know that I can't handle certain things, the great thing is that I'm getting ready to prepare. I'm actually going to be doing surgery soon. And for those ladies who are watching, definitely it's a different type of, not, wellness or anything like that. I'm actually going to be sharing my story about my breast reduction actually as well soon, and so I'm looking forward to that as well. And so with that, just making decision to realize that this is all a part of my wholeness. That although I lost 50 pounds and I started a business and everything like that, this is a part of the journey of mine. And so whatever that looks like for you, there was time that I was crying. I was crying. There's time that I was in tears. I was so I wasn't what was it guilty of it, just different things in the decision that I make. And so for me, that came with my way of taking care of myself is now that I have a therapist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
only that I have Jesus, but your girl go to therapy, and I tell every woman I'm an advocate for it. And so the great thing about our walk soon, a little nuggets for those who are listening, I am going to be implementing therapists, walk with a therapist as well. And
Nice.
so I want to get women into knowing and normalizing going to therapy. Going to
Yeah.
church is great, but you also need a therapist, and you need a coach, you need a consultant, and you need to make sure that you're connected to a ministry as well, or a church, or just to make sure that you're growing in your walk and different things. And so just those are the things that I do make sure that I'm healthy and I'm good. And if I'm feeling it, I'm pulling back. And so that's why I make sure that I have different individuals. I had an intern specifically to kind of lift some weight off of me, certain things like that, and building out bold. And we're not even there yet. And so as we get there, I didn't want to be like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. I often use these two things because, Chick-fil-A been selling chicken. Popeyes said, we're going to do it. And guess what? Popeyes ran out of chicken. And so what we're finding that
Right.
when you build, you got to be prepared to expand. And I'm ready, And so,
Right.
so when you build, be prepared to expand because you never know the volume of what you got in your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Therapists are great listeners. They're
Yeah.
great listeners who don't tell your business. That's how I like to say.
Hello.
Like you can go to them and talk about anything. You got to worry about it going out in the streets and the other
Exactly.
people and stuff like that. And they listen to everything that you
Yeah.
have to say, and they can listen and not put any input and be biased. And
That's
so
good.
that's the awesome thing about therapists as
Good.
well.
Mhm.
So,
I also one more
Go ahead.
thing.
Go ahead.
Just recently wrapped up. Was it last month? I did something called Prayer Therapy Summit, and we talked about the integration of prayer and therapy. You can't, having the two. So I had some great, and we do it every year. It's every year that we're going to do it. But we did our first annual. We were talking about specifically. We had a pastor on there. We had a social worker, and we had a psychotherapist, and we're
Nice.
talking about the power of therapy, what the church is doing about mental health. We had it in May. We normally going to be doing it in May, and I'm looking forward to doing prayer therapy retreat, specifically getting women into different space to be able to get healed from trauma and to also understand the power of prayer as well. On top of that, being talking to a clinical personnel with in a
Yeah.
group setting.
I worked at a church once, and I helped with their homeschooling department, and they had a licensed social worker
I
staff
love that.
in
That's
the
good.
church, and I thought
We
that
need
was
that.
absolutely amazing. Yeah,
We need that.
Mhm.
yeah,
We need that.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, for our community where it's something that we don't normally think of in terms of going to therapists. Although I will say I'm happy that I'm hearing about it more and more. So I think we are definitely waking up to that fact that we need that. So that's beautiful. And I love, again, that you build this holistic approach. Like every time you talk, I'm just thinking like, oh man, you're getting it from this angle and that angle and that angle. And it's just so important that we start recognizing ourselves as a whole being and not apologizing, not apologizing or hiding it, because when you think about entrepreneur, I have not run into people who kind of have that aspect of it where yes, say declarations over your business. So much, we say it over our health, over our family, all this, and we think our business is just like little munchkins. Let's just work it, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. And I love that you talked about celebrating the little wins. I just want to go back to that. And not that they're little, let's just say wins, because you're right. I think I know we always have these goals like, I want 10,000 followers, or I want my business to make this amount of money. And we don't stop when it's like, well, we just made our first $10. Oh, we just made our first 50 and our 100, but we just keep grinding till we try to get to that. And then if we don't get to it, then we're all,
I love it.
upset and stressed out. And yeah, so I love that you're covering the gamut on this. Now, before we go to a commercial break, is there any topic that we have not discussed that you want to touch on?
Well, what's coming up for Bold? What's next?
Oh,
Definitely
yes.
we can talk about that and, plug in our audience about what's happening and for those who are in Orlando, Central Florida area, how they can get in contact with me and so much more. But one of the things that I'm excited, I'm going to be healing in my recovery in the next 2 weeks. And so when I'm up, I'm ready. And so I'm excited to share that when we come back from commercial.
Awesome. So we'll touch on that when we come back from commercial break. But for now, let's hit the commercial.
Nice. And there you have it. That is the A Game. It is a male supplement that is available for men only. If you'd like to request a sample, make sure you talk to Mr. Charles Brakely. He has 2 or 3 samples left. Message him and be sure to get your sample. And we are back.
Yeah. So now let's talk about what you have coming up, because after everything that you've said, I'm like excited to hear what's next.
Yes, well, you kind of tap into what I was going to talk about is this Saturday. For those ladies who are watching, I did it last year. It was amazing. And Kendra and Izzy, what brought me to tears was a woman that drove all the way from Miami. She is a lawyer, and I realized that I'm on assignment. You'd be
Wow.
surprised, like on a beach day won't change people's life. I mean, she drove up, and the massage therapist was there. One of our travel massage that comes out. She's not going to be there this year, but we do have our Zumba instructor. And the great thing is that she came out and the woman came in from Miami and she just started giving her massage. And you could have saw, oh my gosh, she almost melt my heart. And she said, this was so important for me to come. Although it's far, it was worth the trip. And so we actually went to a place called River Park Terrace where we had wellness brunch and we talk it out. So we're not just doing beach day, we did reflection and so many things. And so I'm looking forward to this Saturday at 8:30 a.m. in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Women will be coming out and we're going to be joining and talking about so many different topics along with relaxing, and we got some giveaways as well. So I'm excited about that. But that's what's next, and that's what's coming up next for me.
Ooh,
Very
and I'm
nice.
so mad I'm going to miss it.
A few more minutes. Our next walk is August 29th. We do it every third Saturday of the month. So if you guys put your sneakers on, relax, wear blush, pink, and come on out. I'm gonna start theming it because I love blush and I love pink, and so but wear what you want to wear. But I'm just saying, wear pink and blush, and so come on out and join us with your sneakers and let's move.
Awesome. And then when you think about, like, let's say in 5 years, it doesn't have to be 5, but let's say a little bit further out, where do you see yourself in Bold University?
Well, I see Bold global. I see chapters. I see really training other women to be chapter leaders of Bold so that we can keep the same community, the same movement in different places in our country as well. And I also see training for me, just training about CEO leadership, about things like that and what it means. Often people don't go to school for business. They start a business, but they really don't have the soft training skills. So building that out, also
Mm-hmm.
expanding in individuals in membership and expanding, monetizing, and growing their brands and also growing their lives.
Wow,
Nice.
that is awesome.
Nice. Before we head out, we have a few comments in our chat here. We'll take the comments and then come back and ask a question. If they pop up, let me see if I got magic powers. Boom, comments. Maybe not. Okay, while we're waiting for the comments to come up, I want before we head out, we always ask that you provide us with something that's from your heart that you feel is for our community, for women, or for everyone out there. What advice would you like to leave? What quote, Bible verse?
Yes. One of the things that I want to say to women or male who are listening is to unpack, to reset.
Yeah.
Unpack to reset. Oftentimes, I feel like we're carrying around an invisible backpack, and a lot of us keep filling it up, filling it up, filling it up, filling it up, filling it up. Just keep filling it
Yeah.
up. Every time you go through something in life, it's in the backpack, walking with it. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
And you never stop to reflect and reset and unpack. And so I
Yeah.
want you to be able to do that. And remember that practical tool. In order to go forward, you have to unpack, because in order for you to soar, you got to soar light.
Right. Right.
In
And I
order for
love
you to
that.
soar, you got to soar light. I love that. That is so
Felt
true.
that. I don't know what I just said, but I felt that.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
got the image of like the eagle, you know what I mean? They're not carrying stuff on their back, you know?
Right.
yeah, but that's my
They're not-
story. I had to unpack to soar light and to embrace your greatness. Another thing, embrace your greatness. Don't
yeah,
apologize. Because for me, I was hiding behind different things and wanted to do media, but knew that one of the things was to, you know, find an excuse why I don't want to do it, or feeling like I don't want people to feel like I'm doing too much and all that. But you're called to it. I'm called to it. And so
right.
embracing that you're graced for certain things and some people are not. And so you just have to find that and be okay with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And reset is such a powerful word because you can
Yeah.
reset at any time. You can unpack at any time. So this
Yes.
is continuous. We will continue to reset and unpack for the rest of our lives. Just not a
Yeah.
one-time thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And Coach LaToya, I know we said it at the beginning, but and Izzy will post it. So you guys who are watching now and who will watch it, it'll be in there. But tell the people where they can follow you, how they can get in contact with you, where they can find your book, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, you guys can. One of the greatest thing is to uh, social media is one fingertip away from finding someone. So you can find me on my personal page at Coach LaToya on IG. Also, you can find me here on Facebook at Bold University. If you pull it up, it's going to pop up. Or you can find us also on IG at Bold University as well. We will have that website information there. For our book, it's currently on Amazon as well. If you're reading the link below, one of my partner, Catherine Clark, had placed copy and paste the link somewhere. So click on it and it goes straight to Amazon. Please leave a review. We want to hear your feedback, and go ahead and take a picture, send it to me, because I want to post you that you are becoming not just an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur. It is really a counterculture to developing your prayer life and to also assessing your emotions.
Yes, and I
Nice.
encourage you
Love it.
guys to go check out the Amazon book because it is very, very impressive. So got
Thank you.
great reviews on there already. So add yours for sure.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on. We
Thank you for
appreciate you
having
so
me.
much. And I don't know if we can bring up where you can find us. Oh, but there's the comments. You want to go for the comments? Karen Dixon Brown says, love the book title. Yes, I love the book title. It is
Mhm,
amazing. She says, I love the foundation of sisterhood. Absolutely.
mhm.
And Catherine Clark says, hey, y'all, glad to be here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Charles Brakely says, surrounding yourself with excellence all the
Yeah,
time. All the time. Karen Dixon Brown says, yes, Izzy, true listeners that have your back are so important. Yes. I got my team of good listeners.
yeah.
Tyrone Rick says, Ten of Lights is tuned in. Hi,
What's up,
Tyrone.
Tyrone?
Thank you for tuning in. He says, good evening, Izzy Meditates, Kendra Moore, and special guest LaToya. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good evening, my Feel Good Talk family. Yes. Oh, we love you too. Charles Brakely says, awesome show. Yes, I learned so much today.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
just
Yep.
love that book title. It's just where we need to be. So keep on keeping on and doing everything that you do and putting all of this positive energy and love and all your work out into the universe. And we appreciate you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, ladies. You guys are
All right,
And
we
you
get our
guys,
heart going.
you guys know how we close out. We make a heart with our hands. Come on,
okay.
LaToya, join
Let
us.
me get the heart
Heart
There we
with
coming.
go.
your.
The heart coming through. Wait.
There you go.
Oh,
She's
I'm looking at the mirror. So let me look at my hand. Okay, there we go.
We,
wait
My
till
heart
you
is
see
not
this.
right. You guys should have told me to practice. No.
listen, Izzy has been
You
practicing.
should have told me. I
Listen,
can't make a
Izzy
heart
has
right
been
now.
practicing for like 2 years. Izzy's been practicing
yes,
for 2
you don't have
years.
it right.
I'm gonna
I
take a
know.
picture and I'm gonna email you my heart soon.
All right. Well, you guys, we love you very much. Please like, share.
Oh, I think I got it.
As we always say. Oh, there you
Got
go.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
you got it.
Oh, it's perfect. See? That is
As we
perfect.
always say, the important thing of sharing is not so much just to blast it out, because you never know what people are going through. As we talked about, people keep a lot of things to themselves, inside themselves. And by sharing this, you might be giving people the tool that they need to help them through a stressful situation or just to help them advance their life. So share the show. And we will see you guys again next week. And we love you. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.